So today we're reviewing
Halloween.
this is Halloween, the
1978 version, the first one
Yes.
ever.
the original
I think it was
Halloween.
something Carpenter. I think it was John Carpenter or something that directed this. It was really one of the first, in my opinion, one of the scariest movies I saw as a kid. Just how there's just certain shots that still are pretty scary today, and it's just a classic. And there's some stupid things about it, but it's kind of it was really the first great slasher type film where it's kind of like a psycho murder, and it's not like some other being that we know of, at least so far.
This is obviously a classic movie. Michael Myers, one of the most well-known characters, scary horror characters ever. I mean, I don't know if it's more than Jason or Freddy, but one of the most well-known characters ever. And this is obviously a classic. There's a lot of good things. And why don't we just get into our positives?
I just think I think the best thing about this is the soundtrack, the song. I heard the song actually before I ever saw the movie when I was younger, because I would hear it, like our parents would play like a CD, a Halloween CD, and it was one of the first songs, and it was always just scary. It's just like a scary song, like from the piano, and I really didn't put it to any kind of like face or any kind of like characters. I never saw the movie, so when I saw the actual movie with the song and the certain shots of like every time you see him stalking that girl going home, every time you see him, that song starts to play, and it's just stuff like that, just really scary. And there's no gore or anything about it. It was just, that's why we'll talk about at the end of this. That's why that one was so good, because there was a lot of stuff that happened off screen, really quiet, no movement, no jump scares. There was a couple jump scares, but just some really good. Just the Michael Myers character is just really scary. The soundtrack. I think the setting's another thing about this movie that I've loved so much about it. It's just like, I mean, I know it's old, so it's going to look different, but just the way that it looks from that time is just still scary today. Like, it looks old. I don't know if that's why it makes it a little more scary, but just stuff that's going on. Just they did a really good job in this movie. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, obviously Michael Myers is such a classic character, and one of my favorite things about this movie is that the jump scares, like, there are jump scares, but a lot of this movie, the scary things, is just things you see on screen, and you see it happen, and there's no loud music needed, there's no like extra effects needed for a lot of these scares. A lot of the positives, like things that you just see, like a certain scene that apparently I can't talk about yet, and then another scene where you just see him like stepping behind a bush and like things like that. You don't need a jump scare. And like a certain scene where you see him you can barely see him in the dark, and then certain scenes of him standing somewhere he disappears. That's what this movie definitely gets right. And obviously, yeah, the music is the best. And then I guess some memorable scenes. The one is where Michael Myers opens up the door. There's two stupid teenagers. The one guy gets killed, and then the girl is still upstairs, and he comes up with a blanket and glasses on his head. And that's just a very scary scene when I first saw it. Definitely a very memorable scene.
And for me, it's just really the whole kind of, not opening, but the scene after the opening where she goes to school, and he's just kind of just stalking around the schoolyard. Like, like that kid runs into him when the music like starts. Then you see him like driving around in the escaped vehicle from the mental insane asylum thing, and he's just driving around, and you don't really know like what he is yet. And just that whole sequence where she goes home, she sees him behind the bush. And she sees him near like laundry hanging out in the backyard. But then like you see him, but then they look away. Then you look back and he's gone. That's kind of a theme for him. Really, like happens throughout the entire movie. And then I would also say there's a scene later towards the end of the movie where another stupid character's like just the doors are wide open, and she goes out to the backyard to get something, and then the door's like slowly opening. You see him like in the window of the door, and then he just comes in. Then obviously the final really. Before the exact end battles, or like as you could call it, end battle scene, where she walks upstairs and he comes out of a dark room that was that honestly I had seen that a lot, and for some reason I had just seen this last year again, and I feel like I'd never seen that scene before because it felt new to me.
Well, I was kind of saying, like, in Michael Myers, there's certain scenes in this movie where it kind of makes you wonder if he's just a human. I mean, obviously, at the end of the movie, spoilers, he gets shot like a few times right in the chest and falls out of a
stabbed
window.
in the eye,
Yeah,
stabbed
well,
in the neck.
And you could survive that, and I mean, you could survive maybe getting stabbed
But when
in
you
the neck,
combine all of it together,
but when you get shot multiple times out a window.
also, there's a knife scene where he stabs a guy's head to the wall, and it doesn't fall through his head. It just
yeah,
it
so,
holds him above the
so
ground.
that goes to my point that they're probably like he's probably
things in
that
it.
there's some supernatural things, like it almost makes it to where maybe. I mean, they kind of make it seem like he is like a Jason, who is just like has superpowers.
We'll see about that.
Because if he's able to strangle a German Shepherd, survive multiple bullets, and then fall out a window, a two-story window, and then run away, that's just where I start thinking.
But it's
they
also
kind
the
of tease
character.
that he's superhero.
I honestly don't want them to go that route because that's what makes this movie so scary. Is it could just be a normal guy that is just like it's just insane. If they go that route, I mean, there's already enough movies where, like Jason, all these things that are literally unkillable. That's why Michael's scary, because he is killable. He should be killable. I've actually looked it up today, and it's basically a direct sequel to this. And also, Michael Myers, well, we shouldn't be talking this in this review, but that main girl that's back isn't even related to him at all. It was just a psycho that was just trying to just stalk her down.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's what they're saying, I think. They'll say it in the movie, but... Then as for negatives, I guess, it's really not a negative for me, because like really these kind of movies have to have stupid characters in it, because if there were smart people in the movies, a guy like Michael might actually be able to be outsmarted. Like they call the police, or if they like there's ways that they could probably kill him, but obviously it needs to be stupid teenagers, which is it looks like that's going to be carried over in this next one. And as long as they don't focus on it that much, like they didn't really focus on it at all in this one, which is why I was fine. The parts that they had of stupid stuff going on, it really just, every time that was going on, it wasn't because I didn't care anything about them. It was just like, it was setting up something else. Like when those two guys are on the guy and the girl are on the couch, you see the door open, like stuff's going on.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time. And also, I didn't mention this before, but like part of the setting, how the two houses that are kind of the main houses of the movie are kind of like across the street from each other. And the kid keeps looking at the window, and you see Michael walking around, like this shot here with him carrying the girl around to the front of the house, and then just the fact that it's just going on right there. Like, he's walking back and forth like twice.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, really, that's not really negative for me, because like I said, these movies have to have stupid kids in it or stupid teenagers to make it work. My only complaint would be there's some things that would be like beyond stupid. Like there can be stupid character decisions, but there's just stuff that. Like, I still can't believe today, and it's not enough to ruin it for me, because it's just how the movie is. But specifically when she, the main girl, I don't really know her name, or the actress, she's in the Jamie Lee, something like that, but she's in the new one. She's coming out of the new one, and basically she like stabs him in the neck with like a pin or something, and then she has a knife, and she thinks that he's dead. So she drops the knife right there and like leans back on the couch when he's right behind there. And like you're not like running out of the house or getting your like what was it, her brother or sister, I don't think it was her son or anything, whoever she was babysitting, and
no, it wasn't her son. Never mind.
I think it was just babysitting
Yeah,
or whatever.
she was babysitting.
But after that, but she doesn't even learn from that. She goes upstairs and he's still alive, and then he chases her into like a closet. She stabs him again with a hook, and stabs him in the neck, and she drops the knife again. Right next to her.
Yeah, there are some really dumb decisions.
Like, that is just
honestly,
over the top stupid. That's where I have to draw a line. I'm fine with some stupid people in some movies like that, but not beyond stupid.
This is where, with this movie though, so many movies copy this movie for these stupid things. So like, the teenager cliche, like, that's so many movies.
But that's
got
why
that
that movie's.
this.
Well, that's why. But the movies that
first
copied
one.
it, they didn't learn, because this movie wasn't doing that, where they're like having an hour scene of like teenagers being stupid with nothing that has to do with Michael. Like that's why everything that was going on to the teenagers had a deeper like it was all tying around Michael Myers. Like there was never a scene where stupid stuff was going on where you didn't feel his presence around, even if he wasn't on screen. But yeah, I mean that's really.
But with these movies, you need disposable characters. That's why in this next one, I mean, I don't expect every character to have freaking amazing character development. You need disposable characters.
The only two that I care about are obviously Michael Myers and the girl, because she's in the first one. Like that's the two connections. Like
and the guy who's figuring out where Michael is. He's pretty important.
Well, not you're talking about the guy from the first one. I think he's dead.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the first one.
Oh, well, yeah, we're talking about this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're talking about
I cared about the guy that was trying to search for him, because he was like his psychiatrist, and the girl, because that's obvious, and then Michael Myers. Everything else, all those others, they didn't focus on anyone else, in my opinion. There was other characters in the movie, but they might have focused on the kids a little bit, but nowhere near that was enough to be annoying or anything like that. There's not much gore in this first Halloween movie.
Yeah, so I think that's going to change.
That's from what I'm hearing. It sounds like it's going to be on Jason level on a couple, but I don't know.
Yeah, they don't need the gore, but that's just, we can cover that in the next one. But yeah, we will be seeing Halloween.
It's rated R, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
This is PG-13, probably, right?
I mean, it has PG-13 amount of gore. So.
No, like this one. Well, yeah, the old
I'm saying
one.
It has PG-13. I haven't seen the new one, but like
I probably would say the 1978 versions might be PG-13 because there's not many foul language in there at all, and there's not much blood.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's Conjuring 2 where it's like too scary to watch. I don't think. But
I mean, I don't even know how they made that rating.
Yeah, because
this could be.
Conjuring 2's R for just horror. There is some blood, but anyway, for our final scores, obviously for me, I mean, like as I was saying, there's really no negatives. Like besides, there was some really beyond stupid parts, but honestly, it's not enough to even take a point off for me, and it's not like it's really not a negative. It's because it's still really scary. Besides that, it's not enough to take me out of it. And there's nothing stupid in it. There's no stupid characters that like were really annoying because all the stupid characters die.
Yeah.
So I would have to give this movie a 10 out of 10.
I would definitely have to give this a 10 out of 10 as well because it's just such a historic movie, Halloween in general, not just because it's called Halloween. It's one of the most iconic, scary characters of all time. I mean, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy they're just some of the most iconic characters you think about. And, I mean, the characters that even, like, the bad characters, I guess if you'd call them that, are just supposed to be stupid characters. Like, they're not supposed to be these, like, great acting people. They're just, like, in their house or, like, they're just doing stupid stuff. That's why I don't really think you can say that's bad acting. And there's obviously some very memorable scenes, very memorable movie, absolute classic, and that's why I have to give it a 10 out of 10.
And we're definitely excited to see the new Halloween 2018, which is actually a direct sequel to this one. So really in this series, we're not really going to review all the thousands of Halloweens that came out after this 1978 version. Even though the second one I saw parts of, and it seemed like that would still be connected because she was in it. But from what they're saying, what I've read, is that they're completely scrapping everything after this first Halloween 1978 version. This is the next direct sequel, which is pretty cool to see that. It's good that they're saying that. That's why it's. I don't have the third one. I haven't even. The only one that I can think about is the second one, which I honestly want to give that second one another watch, even though this isn't connected to this universe, but it's still a Michael Myers movie. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see it. We both gave the 1978 version of Halloween a 10 out of 10, and we will see you guys in the next new review. Bye.